You and I are absolutely at our best when we get beyond ourselves. The moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, in no time, the moment you and I become pure consciousness, the moment we get beyond our identities, our bodies, our faces, our culture, our gender, our hairstyles, our wardrobes, we get beyond the things we own, the people we know, the places we lived, we get beyond our pain, our emotions, our habits, no longer trying to predict the familiar future based on the memory of the past. That's the moment we become pure consciousness. In other words, we become thought alone. And that's the moment the body is literally releasing energy. And we go from particle to wave, from matter to energy. And the side effect of that is our heart begins to open. The brain gets very coherent. The heart begins to work with the brain. We broadcast a whole new electromagnetic signature. And instead of trying to predict the worst case scenario and get ready for it, we trust in the unknown. We trust in possibility. We begin to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want for something greater to occur. And so it's a skill, and you can teach people how to do this. And when people stop living by those limited emotions and they start opening their heart, they feel connected to something greater. And the moment they feel connected to something greater, they're no longer trying to force or control the outcome. They're getting out of the way and allowing the universe to organize it in a way that's just right for them. So the problem, I think, for most of us, me included, to answer your question, is that you and I and most people in our lives, we wait for our life to get so unbearable that crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis or loss, something has to bring us to this lowest denominator in order for us to want to change. And this is a beautiful time in history, Panache, because people are beginning to realize that they don't have to wait for that. They can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or they can learn and change in a state of joy or inspiration. So, is there a connection between our authentic self and the soul, and how do we get there? Well, I think for most of us then, we begin to, we're young and we have a lot of confusing things that happen to us in our life, and when we're young, most of our attention is on our inner world. And as we begin to grow up and we meet friends and we move to different places and we own different things, we become very consumed with the external environment. And we begin to create an identity by the people we know and the places we go and the things we do, and all of our attention goes to the external environment, and we don't want to pay a lot of attention to our inner world. So that works probably for the first 35 or 40 years of our life. And then after you experience everything that life has to offer, all of a sudden nothing's making that feeling go away. And this is the moment the soul begins to wake us up and say, pay attention, because nothing is making that feeling change. So in other words, when you can predict the feeling of everything that's going on in your life, and nothing new is happening, all of a sudden you're left with those feelings from very early on, whether it's emptiness or unworthiness or insecurity. And so then this is where people all of a sudden have to make a choice. Some people, they buy the sports car, they buy the new boat, they join the new social club, they meet new people, they have affairs, they go on vacation to a new place, they buy new things. But when the novelty of all of those events wear off, here comes that feeling again. And so then other people, they begin to look at those emotions and they don't want to keep that facade going on any longer. In other words, this is how we appear to the world. This is the facade, this is the identity, this is the image. And this is how we really feel inside. Now, this person is identifying, creating an identity with the external world so that nobody knows how they really feel inside. Now, everybody's doing the same exact thing. So God forbid anybody finds out that we're insecure or feeling empty. So you have to keep this facade going on with your identity in the environment and your body and the way you look and how busy you are, so that you don't have to look at this. Now, some people begin to look at this feeling, and this is the midlife crisis. This is where they say, I don't love you, I don't know why I'm doing this, I don't like those people, I don't want to keep this going any longer anymore. And they begin to pay attention to this feeling. Now, there's not a lot of structure in our Western world to do that. So the moment people begin to lose their mind and they begin to tell the truth about who they are, they begin to break their emotional bonds with everybody in their life. That's when they go to the doctor and get Prozac, and there they go. They return right back to that person. But this gap between how we appear to the world and who we really are inside is based on the amount of emotions that we've memorized from past experiences. There's sadness there, there's unworthiness there, there's insecurity there, and we're not looking for the external environment to make this feeling go away. In other words, we start looking at how we think when we feel this way, how we act when we feel this way, and we begin to move through those emotions, and we begin to overcome them. Every time we overcome an emotion, we liberate energy, and we begin to close the gap between how we appear to the world and who we are inside, until how we appear is who we are, and we've liberated all this energy. That's the moment we call transparency. And that's the moment where the person is truly happy, no longer needing anything outside of them to make them happy, but the true happiness is coming from within them. In other words, so many people confuse pleasure and happiness. And pleasure is the accumulation of things to feel good, and happiness is coming from within. So that intelligence that's giving us life right now, that's digesting our food and organizing trillions of functions in one cell every single second, and organizing DNA, that self-organizing intelligence is looking for a crack to leak out. And when it begins to leak out, it begins to consume us. And that's the moment we become like it. We become more loving. It's a loving intelligence. We become more mindful. It's a great mind. We become more willful. It's got an amazing will. Its nature becomes our nature. We become more giving. It's a giver of life. So I think when we begin to all of a sudden realize that there's nothing wrong with the accumulation of things, but I think we've been conditioned into believing that true happiness, changing everything in our external world, and true change comes from trying to do it from the outside instead of doing it from within. And I think this is, again, really important for us, because as we begin to overcome that, those limited states, the body's no longer living in the past. And that's where most of our pain comes from, is when the body's living in the past. And we've measured so many people in the process of transformation. And when they get beyond their past, they're pretty unlimited people. And the side effect of that is true joy and true expression of life, which I call the natural state of being. Those thoughts are just old circuits that have been fired and wired in the brain. How do I behave? What do I do? How do I act? What do I say? What comes out of my mouth? Now think about this. If you can observe how you're thinking, notice how you're acting, and pay attention to how you're feeling, the moment you become conscious of what you're unconscious to, it means you're no longer the program. Now you're the consciousness observing the program, and this is when we begin to objectify our subjective selves. And the more we can look at ourselves through the eyes of someone else, the more conscious we can become of that, the less unconscious we're prone to be in our normal life. So the word meditation, the symbol of meditation in the Tibetan language, literally means to become familiar with. So if you're becoming familiar with your unconscious thoughts and making them conscious, you're in a process of meditation. If you're becoming aware of your automatic habits and behaviors, and now you're so aware of them you would never become unaware of them again, and you look at those emotions that bring you to a lower level, and you're so familiar with your pain and your sorrow and your suffering that you would never allow yourself to live in that emotional state again. This is the moment you're Gandalf on the bridge and you're saying, you may not pass ever again. Now, when you make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that's greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional addiction in your body, and your body begins to respond to a new mind, that's the moment the past no longer exists in your body. That's the moment you come out of your resting state, yes, and your body is getting a sampling of the future instead of living by the memory of the past.
I really hope you loved this video and it was helpful. So please help me make it more popular by giving your thumbs up, commenting it and sharing on the social networks with your friends. And now it's time for our daily Complete the Quote challenge. If you're new to this, your job is to complete the inspiring quote we choose for you and write the right answer in the comments below the video. If you can give us the correct answer first, you're the winner of this daily challenge. So far you were very successful. Most of you knew the right answers. In the previous video we had quote that belongs to Joe Dispenza. We were looking for two words. The quote goes like this: "We see our beliefs as truths and not as the ideas that we," and the correct answer was, "can change." So we see our beliefs as truths and not as ideas that we can change. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer and to everyone who tried but didn't guess the answer. Today we also have the quote from Joe Dispenza. The quote goes like this: "As long as you are thinking equal to your environment, you are creating the..." So we are missing for two words. If you know the correct answer, write it down in the comment section. Even if you're not sure what the right answer is, try and guess. And find out the right answer in the next video. If you like this video and our challenge, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. Spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. By doing that, you will get notification when my new video and new challenge is out. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click on the link in the description of this video. Stay good and have a great day.